This miasmite thing sounds awesome. Also, the stats are pretty dope, so yeah, I want it. There we go, that's that. Also, I'm trying out some new colors. Oh, look at you. I haven't had you before. You look cool. And get stabbed, idiot. That wasn't too bad. Lovely. Greetings, my dudes and dudettes. Today we're trying out another one of the new Coda weapons, and this time around it's going to be the Coda Pathocyst. The same master... I recorded the wrong thing. How did I do that? Bear with me a moment. Master rank 17 glaive that does primarily viral damage, but also has a relatively equal split of puncture, slash and impact with a 20% crit chance, 2.3 times crit multiplier, and a 35% status chance. It also spawns Tekrot miasmites as you attack with it, which are these little maggots that will seek out nearby enemies and explode. And finally, it is a Coda weapon, so the only way to get it is by engaging with the Technosite Coda system, so you need to make your own infested boy band and then stab it a bunch to get the currency so that you can then get the weapon from Eleanor. So let's give it a shot, shall we? Oh man, that looks really cool. I haven't got a Scooby what this scales with, but if I were to have a guess based on past experiences, I'm going to say nothing. Let's put on a potato. Pretty sure we're gonna do a throw build, so stance doesn't matter. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like a light influence throw build, so let's do Condi Overload. Blood Rush for crit. Steel for crit damage. We're gonna need Rebound if we're going light. Power Throw would be nice if we have the space. Whirlwind would be godly as well. Get some status with Weeping Wounds. What else? Do we need attack speed maybe? Oh dear god, we're gonna need some wind-up speed on this. What about the damage though? That seems decent enough. Oh, look at the little maggot boys. Do you see them? Oh, they're cute, look at them. Oh, my pretties. Oh, I forgot. Normal Elementalist gives wind-up speed. I guess we can run that instead of Galvanized Elementalist, because I always use Galvanized Elementalist. I know I can turn on the labels. I'm just a stubborn son of a bitch. There it is. Influence. Oh, hell yeah. That's much better. Lovely. Definitely gonna need some flight speed, though. This is really slow. There we go. Corrosive Herald. Oh, now we're talking. Hell yeah. Yeah, Herald adds a lot because of Condi Overload. So before we move on, we need to do something. I don't know how this works. I've never done it before, actually. Valence Override. Install Elemental Vice. Yes. Oh, so just select it. That's neat. Okay, nice and simple. Ooh, cool animation. So we don't have to run electricity anymore, and we can run gas instead. Hell yeah, baby. Let's go. Oh,
Clum!
That's the stuff. That is the stuff. You could do blast as well, but I feel like gas is more appropriate here. I'm certain this is going to be an absolute shock to anyone watching, but an influence build clears really well. I know, right? Seriously though, this is really dope. I'm loving this. I don't think the maggots, or whatever they're called, miasmites, do an awful lot, but that's fine. The glaive does more than enough. They just add a little bit of flavor. Gross, disgusting, pus-filled flavor. Show yourself, Acolyte son. Alright, bring it on. Good shield damage. Good health. Wow. Now, I know this might not seem like much, but for this kind of build specifically, like for a light throw build, that's seriously impressive. Ooh. Oh. Very nice. You know, I try to avoid influence builds quite a bit, but there's something special about influence on glaives because of the way it works, right? When you throw it and you have influence procced, it procs so much status as it bounces around, it's ridiculous. This is one of those weapons where influence genuinely fits really well, so you can just slap it on and not feel like a massive tit because you run it on everything. Where are you, bud? Oh, you're dying. I'm not entirely sure what you're dying from. Damn, sit down. What the fuck was that? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, I don't know if that was the game just calculating all the procs or whatever the hell that was. One thing to bear in mind here is that this is a much more advanced setup than I usually do because I've outsourced a lot of stuff. We have priming from Harold, which we usually do have, but we also have combo sustain from Nanamon. We have attack speed from Strike because we couldn't fit attack speed on the weapon, so there's a lot of help here. Doesn't change the fact that this is an absolute banger though. So here's the final setup for the Coda Pathocyst, specifically an electricity-based Coda Pathocyst. This will not work if you don't have electricity valence. The stance doesn't matter, it's just there for the capacity because this is a throwing build, so we're not actually using any of the combos. Now I would recommend you run Whirlwind in the Exilus. It used to be pretty buggy, it would make some glyphs miss because they were too fast, sometimes they would also fly into space and it would take forever for them to return, but they seem to have fixed that and it doesn't seem to happen at all. Then for the actual mods, we have Blood Rush and Galvanized Steel for crit chance and damage, Volatile Rebound, so the glaive explodes every time it bounces, Weeping Wounds for status chance, Condition Overload for base damage, and we're running normal Elementalist, not Galvanized Elementalist, okay, because we would rather have the wind-up speed than the status chance. It also actually provides a little bit more status damage than the Galvanized version. And to top it all off, we're running Volcanic Edge and Virulent Scourge for gas and status. Now, I think this is one of the weapons where influence actually makes a lot of sense, instead of it being the default strongest arcane that you can run on everything. Especially with a light throwing build, because as you throw the glaive and it bounces around, it procs a ridiculous amount of status that's then spread around by influence. One thing I do want to point out though is this is more of a setup than a build, because we're outsourcing attack speed to Arcane Strike, combo sustain to the Naramon Focus School, and the vast majority of priming for Condition Overload comes from Harold. This is my priming focused hound that primes impact, puncture, radiation, cold, corrosive, and magnetic. The Coda Pathocyst is an absolute banger and you should definitely give it a shot. The unique mechanic is, well, certainly unique. I don't think it does an awful lot, but, you know, it's a nice bonus. If they're at all similar to the ones you get on the standard Pathocyst, they really don't scale with awful lot. It's basically just base damage and they don't have any crit or status. So they're mostly useful as crowd control because they will latch onto enemies before detonating, which will briefly stagger them. Also, my Coda Pathocyst is relatively low on the valence bonus. It's at 26.6%, which is super duper low, so you can very easily get a stronger one. It's also considerably easier to get than the standard Pathocyst because that one drops from the Zealot Prelate. So yes, if you're looking for a solid, strong and fun glaive, which also happens to have a unique mechanic and is relatively easy to get, the Coda Pathocyst is a good choice indeed. And that's pretty much all I have for you today, so I thank you very much for watching as always guys, and I hope you have enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, it means a lot to me. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.